struggle we embrace, with knowledge from the past will define our space. Hippocrates knew it all starts with the gut. We'll transform the pain, turn it into our strut. Yeah, we rise and we fight. No surrender in sight. It's us versus MS. Watch us rise to the test. With strength in our hearts, we'll move, we'll progress. With Hippocrates' guide, we refuse to regress. This fight's not in vain, it's us who'll be blessed. Multiple sclerosis, you won't take our spark. We'll light up the world, bring light to the dark. With each step we take, we break down these walls. Together as one, we'll answer the calls. With unity and strength, we'll go to any length. It's us versus MS, watch us rise to the test. With strength in our hearts, we'll move, we'll progress. With Hippocrates' guide, we refuse to regress. This fight's not in vain, it's us who'll be blessed.
Most conversations about multiple sclerosis focus on what's happening deep inside the brain or spinal cord. But if we step back and look at the body as a whole system, an important pattern emerges. Many of the earliest disruptions in MS show up in the peripheral nervous system long before a central lesion is ever detected.
The peripheral nervous system, or PNS, is enormous. It stretches from the spinal cord into the limbs, skin, organs, and blood vessels. It includes nerves that carry movement and sensation, sensory receptors that detect the outside world, ganglia, small hubs where nerve cell bodies gather, and the autonomic system, which regulates heart rate, digestion, temperature, inflammation, and immune balance.
Even though MS is defined as a central nervous system disorder, the symptoms people notice first are often PNS-driven. Tingling and numbness, burning sensations, bladder and bowel urgency, dizziness and blood pressure swings, fatigue, muscle tightness, heat sensitivity, heart rate irregularities.
These aren't brain symptoms, they're peripheral signals. The body sending alerts through PNS channels.
So why does a central disease produce so many peripheral symptoms? Increasing evidence suggests that the PNS may be involved in the earliest breach that sets MS in motion. The nerves and ganglia that sit outside the brain and spinal cord are constantly exposed to infections, toxins, metabolic stress, and inflammatory signals. When these peripheral structures become chronically activated, several things can happen.
1, the blood nerve and blood ganglion barriers weaken. This makes the PNS more permeable to inflammatory cytokines and immune cells. 2, sensory and autonomic nerves begin firing abnormally, creating the strange sensations and systemic instability many people feel years before diagnosis. 3, persistent PNS inflammation reaches the transitional zones where peripheral nerves enter the CNS. These border regions were designed to be protective, but they can become vulnerable under sustained stress.
At that point, the immune system may encounter myelin in a way it's not supposed to, whether because the myelin is chemically altered, because the barrier is leaky, or because the peripheral immune load is simply too high.
Once that exposure occurs, CNS inflammation ignites, microglia activate, astrocytes signal for help, and the first demyelinating lesions begin to form.
So although MS ultimately manifests as a central demyelinating disease, the functional experience, what patients feel day to day, is heavily influenced by the peripheral nervous system.
And understanding the PNS not as a bystander, but as a potential starting point opens the door to earlier detection, better prevention strategies, and therapies aimed at stabilizing the periphery before it impacts the brain or spinal cord.
Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that has nothing to be ashamed of, rightly dividing the word of truth. These are your takeaways.
That boy good. He real smart. Somebody get him one of those Nobel Prizes and a doctorate.
It has been said that the graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth. full of all the inventions and cures sparked in the mind, but not shared for the good of humanity. So let this message find your trust. All disease begins in the gut.